The chandeliers did not move, yet the light beneath them felt alive. Gold settled gently on white tables, on polished glasses, on faces that had learned how to smile without warmth. For a brief moment there was only the sound of cutlery touching porcelain, soft and distant like rain on stone. Then laughter rose, clean, sharp, empty. At the far end of the hall, a young woman stood still as if the room had forgotten her name. A small basket rested in her hands, filled with red and white roses. Her fingers were tense, not from fear alone but from memory. She had learned long ago how to stand quietly when noise ruled the room. Victor Harrington sat at the center table, his presence larger than the chair beneath him. He spoke with his hands, his shoulders, his laughter. Wealth clung to him like perfume. Beside him sat a guest who spoke less, listened more, and carried himself with a calm that did not need attention. Their plates were untouched. Their eyes were searching for entertainment. The girl stepped forward when the manager nodded. She did not rush. Her shoes made no sound on the marble floor. She had learned to walk this way, unnoticed, careful not to disturb the comfort of others. The roses were meant to bring a smile, nothing more, a small task, a small hope. Victor noticed her then, not her eyes, not her posture, but the way she did not belong to his world. He smiled, the kind that stretches without reaching the eyes. His voice cut through the hall, light and playful, sharp enough to draw blood if one listened closely. "Sell me these roses in Arabic," he said. "I will pay you more than you earn in years." The room reacted before she could. Laughter broke out, bright and cruel, bouncing off glass and gold. Heads turned, some amused, some uncomfortable. No one spoke. Her name was Miam. She had not planned to say it aloud tonight. She kept it close, like a fragile thing. The roses trembled slightly, not because her hands were weak, but because they remembered other nights. Nights without light, nights when words were whispered to keep fear away. She had crossed oceans carrying nothing but language and loss. Her father's voice still lived in her memory, steady even as walls fell. Her mother's hands, rough and gentle, teaching her how to listen before speaking. Arabic was not just speech to her, it was where her grief rested, where her strength slept. She could have stepped back, many before her had. She could have smiled politely and walked away, leaving the laughter behind. But something quiet inside her refused to disappear. She lifted her head. The sound in the hall began to fade, not because anyone demanded silence, but because something had shifted. Even Victor's companion turned fully toward her now, his expression alert, respectful. Miam breathed in slowly. When she spoke, her voice was soft, but it did not shake. The words came out steady, shaped with care, as if she were placing them gently into the room. She spoke of roses not as objects but as messengers, of love that waits patiently, of hope that survives harsh ground. The language flowed naturally, without effort, each word carrying weight and grace. It was not loud, it did not ask to be admired, it simply existed, complete and honest. When she finished, she translated quietly, almost to herself. "These roses are offered with love and hope. They speak to the heart before they reach the hand." No one laughed. The stillness felt heavy but not uncomfortable. It felt earned. Victor's smile faded as if it had never belonged to him. The man beside him placed a hand over his chest, his eyes softened by understanding. He had heard not just the words but the life inside them. Miam lowered her gaze, her hands still trembled, but now it was from release, not fear. She had not defended herself, she had simply spoken truth. Victor said nothing. He reached for his checkbook, wrote a number, and tore the page free. The paper rested in his hand longer than necessary. When he gave it to her, his eyes did not meet hers. She looked at the amount and felt the air leave her lungs. It was more than money. It was a moment frozen in ink. She did not smile, she did not cry, she simply held it. Victor stood and left without a word. The door closed behind him with a sound softer than his laughter had been. The man from Dubai spoke then, gently. "Use it," he said, "not as payment, as a beginning." That night, Miam sat on a bench beneath the open sky. The city hummed around her, unaware. The roses rested beside her, their scent faint but real. She thought of all she had lost, and of all she still carried. She understood something then: dignity does not need permission, and kindness, when protected, can grow roots. Months passed, then years. The money became walls, then rooms, then voices. Women gathered, languages were shared, stories unfolded slowly. Miam listened more than she spoke. She named the place quietly like a promise. One afternoon, a familiar face appeared at the doorway. Older, quieter, Victor stood there, uncertain, as if waiting to be invited into a world he once ignored. They met eyes, no anger passed between them, no pride, just understanding. "You changed me," he said. Miam shook her head gently. "You listened," she replied. "That is where change begins." The room filled with sound again, not laughter that cut but laughter that healed, words learned, futures forming. If this story stayed with you, take a moment to like it and share it with someone who might need quiet hope today. Subscribe if you wish to hear more stories like this. And in the comments, leave just one word that this made you feel.